This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No. Y'all,
This
just
is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. I'm Lindsay in for Jeff. I just spilled coffee all over my legs, but we're going to pretend like it didn't happen.
I'm trying to be discreet.
I don't want to be discreet, man. I got coffee on my legs.
I was like, give her the paper towel.
Anyway, so The White Lotus wrapped up its second season last night, but don't worry, we're not giving away any spoilers. The HBO show has been racking up nearly 10 million viewers per episode. Wow. But here's the thing. Each episode airs once a week, which some say is bringing back appointment TV, where everyone is watching at the same time. So HBO makes a point of airing shows like Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon one episode at a time rather than releasing the whole show all at once. So do you guys prefer this? I was obsessed with the finale. I watched it on appointment the time that it aired, but I also like when I could binge watch a show.
I will say this, I'm like a strong, I binge really, really hard, but I forget a series if I binge it that hard. So if I really want to like reflect and understand and remember, if I really want to remember, I need to do appointment TV, and it's more exciting, and there's more bubbles in the air about it. You know, everyone else is watching it too.
Okay, that's not a turn of phrase.
It is now.
Bubbles in the air.
Now, listen,
Bubbles in
Steph,
the
we
air.
all know about the bubbles in the air. I text you all
bubbles in the
time. Did you get bubbles this weekend? You know, honestly, what you're saying makes sense, because with binging, it's just at top of mind for a week or 4 days.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if it's appointment, it's probably over the course of 6 weeks, maybe 3 months. So that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's not every show is created equal. Some are bingeable because some are kind of more black and white and more like, I like this person. It's kind of like a strip show. But I think a show like White Lotus, a show like Game of Thrones, all the characters, Steph, you don't know if they're good or bad.
You're so invested.
He seems like he's talking to a shady person, but I thought he was cool, and like, so it gives you that room for that discussion.
No, I love it. When it was obviously the pandemic and we were all locked at home and we couldn't like leave, I was all about the binging because I had nothing else in my life that it kept me alive. I was so grateful for Netflix and Hulu and everything. I mean, I subscribe to everything. Whereas now, obviously, everyone's back at work, life has resumed, and so now I like waiting. I like the suspense, the anticipation. I like seeing the twists and turns and being shocked every week. I prefer being made to wait. So sadistic on myself, but I enjoy it.
And you couldn't wait because you watched the whole final episode this morning.
I was so petrified I was going to come into work and you guys were going to, like, someone was going to tell me, like, oh my gosh, the big spoiler. We all know in every episode of White Lotus someone passes, right? And I was like, someone's going to tell me, I've got to watch it. So I got up really early to watch it because I was like, don't take this moment from me, guys.
No, seriously, it was a good finale, so you guys got to watch it. Speaking of the White Lotus, it also picked up 4 Golden Globe nominations, which were announced earlier today. So the smash hit of the summer, Top Gun: Maverick, picked up 2 nominations for Best Motion Picture and Best Song for Lady Gaga's Hold My Hand. And another blockbuster, Avatar: Way of the Water, Tori's favorite, comes out in theaters this Friday, and it's already nominated for Best Motion Picture and Best Director for James Cameron. Well deserved. Yeah. And Elvis also scored some love with 3 nominations. Brendan Fraser got a nod for his performance in The Whale, but he was already saying that he's not attending because of his claims that he was groped and assaulted by the former Hollywood Foreign Press Association president back in 2003. The Globes will be airing back on TV this year after NBC pulled the show last year. It was over a lack of diversity within the HFPA. Now it says it has 104 new members, with more than half being racially and ethnically diverse. This sounds like a lot of words to say. Is half of the staff now diverse or not? Or did you just add 104 people and that half is diverse? Like, are we going to have a fair voting pool? People of all identities get a chance to be represented.
They didn't have a single person of color, which is why they had to pull it. That in 2021 or back then or 2020 is astounding to me. So tone deaf, so stupid. Now, I'm glad that they did it. Does it reek a bit of like tokenism, like bring everybody in and we'll be fine now?
Well, you can't ask them to fix it and say,
yeah, at least they're trying. At least they're doing something. They're addressing it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I hope these institutions understand that when they hear the D word, diversity, they're like, oh, I guess we have to have a woman. It's like, no, you want these things. On a show like this, if it was made by 5 or 6 of the same people, it's going to be their vision. But you do need a Gen Zer to be like, hey, people would do this on TikTok more than they would do it on broadcast. Okay, thank you for that diverse opinion. Oh, maybe we should have, maybe we should have a guy do this because, we also want to pull in male daytime viewers. You need different people there.
So we just heard that literally the association did have other cultures, other diversity, but they didn't have any black members.
Specifically, any.
Specifically.
So I'll say, as a resident black person, also out on the stage, it doesn't seem like it's that hard to find talented black people to do anything. And so to me, that's ridiculous when we're talking about something that's an institution for so many years, not being able to find, like, I hear you about the diversity, but like, what's the problem? Are you actually looking, or are you just
or are you deliberately not? Because that almost seems easier. It almost seems harder to not find someone to bring in than be like, it just seems like a deliberate thing.
But it's who you know as well. I mean, we see this a lot in the NFL. A lot of obviously, I believe all the owners are white men, and so they know other white men that are like, I know another white guy that's great for this job. If I was an owner, my homie Jason Brinson would probably be a GM. I know a lot of black dudes, I know a lot of brown dudes, I know a lot of gay folks, so that's what my coalition would look like. So I think it is partial. I don't think it's always just like racism. I just think it's like, these are the only people on my phone. These are the only people I talk to and I've ever talked to my whole life. So I do think there's a component of that too. And sometimes that's why that diversity has to be kind of forced in there, because they're like, I don't know any black
I just
women.
don't believe they don't know anyone. Come on, for years.
I think now that we've called it to the attention, we'll see what happens as far as nominations and awards, and we got to watch how this plays out over the next few years.
Agreed.
And see if it made any real difference.
Yeah. Our eyes are on you, HFPA.
Exactly. Okay, changing directions a little bit, because Tori got her eyes on the HFPA. Singer Patti LaBelle was rushed off the stage in the middle of her concert in Milwaukee. It was all over a bomb threat.
This was scary.
Take a look.
This was very scary.
770 to my 8 winners. Hold up. Wait!
So as you can hear, some people in the audience were rolling the prompter. Some people in the audience were laughing and thinking it was a joke, but thankfully it wasn't. I mean, and thankfully it was. What we're trying to say. It wasn't a joke. Yeah, so basically the show, she's rescheduling her show and going to do it later. I saw this and I was like, wow, at least she has people that are like, listen, I trust you enough, and she trusts them enough to walk when they say walk, but also has the right people around her to get her out of that situation. And everyone else needs to be protected in the building too, which is so scary, because people are scared to go out these days because of all the shootings and all the different things happening. So a bomb threat is nothing to joke about. So getting everybody out of there safely is the best and most important thing to do.
Yeah, if you ever are near a president, I don't know, or Secret Service, and there's even like a balloon pop, or they're worried, they don't even usher the person out. They pick up the person. Wow. All surround the person. This happened when Reagan was shot by Hinckley, and literally move him. Feet are off the ground.
Wow.
Like when Pence had it during 1-6, it was like they just get you out and surround you. So happy to see this after we've seen some people on stage get hit by certain things and not have the security we thought they should. Looks like Miss LaBelle does have that kind of security.
I just see a performer. Like, the show must go on. She's like, no, wouldn't even give the mic up. She still got it in her hand. I just love that she's like, no, what's up? Let's finish the show. There is just something old school about that, and I think about her audience that has been so loyal to her for 60 years now, and it just, you still see dressed to the nines, doing her thing. Shout out Patti LaBelle, like, no, hey, let me finish this song. I was like, I love this woman.
And thankfully everybody's okay, and they get 2 shows now. They got part of one and then a new one.
There you go.
That's good.
Coming up on DBL, it's like a scene straight from Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. But this time, 13 strangers banded together to get to their destination. We talked with a few of them to find out how they joined forces to tell this one heck of a story. And Harry and Meghan fire off more claims against the royal family. So, do you believe their side of the story? Let us know.
It's happy holiday season time.
From our DBL family to yours, we want to wish you
a happy holiday season.
A happy holiday season.
We're live. I always feel bad.
We're talking about our fact checker, Emily.
Emily, wave. Will you grab
Yeah, when
Emily?
you say something wrong, you see her like walking.
I don't want to.
She's like, I don't want to do this.
But if you're on the show, if Emily gets up and walks across, it's usually because someone said something incorrect. So whenever Emily gets up from her chair, even to get water, I'm like, oh no, it's Emily.
No, Tori, the worst is when you say something like 9 out of 10 Americans have trouble paying for gas, and you just hear somebody go, have Emily check that, and then you just see her turn like this.
And she goes, "You've made up that statistic."
Yeah.
Dang it!
It's the worst.
Dang it!
I do like the real-time fact checking.
Oh, very, very important.
Yeah.
Very, very important. The reason I don't, if you don't know, Avatar, why I was booing at it is we were talking about it, and I won't get deep in. I find that movie took special effects and made it all about that, and not about...
took it to another level.
Right, but
Absolutely.
the characters and heart of the movie, the heart and the characters of the movie weren't there in the
Tori
first
still
one.
wants the same animation as the original King Kong.
No, I don't.
Piece of clay.
No, I don't.
Model.
It's not like the running horse.
Yeah.
No, Beauty and the Beast was nominated for the first time as an animated for Best Picture, and it surely deserved it. Great animation, like as I said, Jurassic Park, great CGI, but you still get the heart. Avatar.
Paper?
What's this one called? The Last. What's it called? This one, The Last Water.
Oh, the last.
What is this?
The
one?
Way of Water.
The Way of Water. What does that mean?
What are you talking about?
The name of this even, The Way of Water.
No. What? I don't.
Yeah, and I got sick to my stomach too.
It just seems like you had a bad experience.
I was with an ex. In a theater where I got
You know what?
sick.
I saw Harlem Nights with a dude that I was not interested in, and I don't like Harlem Nights.
Is it the guy?
I know. It was like scratching nails on a chalkboard. I was like, get me out.
Welcome back. So Harry and Meghan are out with a new trailer for the second batch of episodes of their Netflix docuseries, and it seems like we're finally going to hear more details about the couple's beef with the royal family. Take a look.
To see this institutional gaslighting.
I wasn't being thrown to the wolves, I was being fed to the wolves.
They were actively recruiting people to disseminate disinformation.
They were happy to lie to protect my brother. They were never willing to tell the truth to protect us.
Juicy. So Prince Harry and Meghan are also hitting back at some of the criticism they've received, specifically that the series contradicts the couple's desire for privacy. So their spokesperson told the New York Times, quote, their statement announcing their decision to step back mentions nothing about privacy. The tabloid media has created an entirely untrue narrative that permeates press coverage and public opinion. So what do you think of this new trailer and the press's reaction? I'll start with Steph, because obviously,
I was going to say, first of all, the trailer looks far more juicier than the first 3 episodes, which nearly sent me to sleep. I'll be honest. I can see Lindsay looks completely horrified at that. So first of all, that. But also, I do need to retract something that I have said many times on the show, which is, I've always said, why have they sold their souls out? If they want privacy, I've said that many times. And now they've got the receipts to prove they didn't actually say that. And once again, our lovely media has caused that frenzy. Of which I, being British and the only person that is very much living on both sides of the pond, understands how that can get in your brain. So, yeah, I do think, though, I'm dying for these next few series because, I mean, like, for me, I've grown up seeing all this. I understand the tabloid. I understand how the royals have been, like, harassed and pursued. There is no excuse for the racism whatsoever. We've got those headlines that are being seen in black and white. Literally, they're real. And what I would like to see, as a British person, I don't know how Americans feel, but I think the editors or the people that have written those titles, because let's be honest, every time you read in a magazine or a newspaper, it says the author and the journalist, every single piece is credited. We need to see those people be held accountable, whether it's in a lawsuit, whether it's they lose their jobs, I don't know. I just think there's no excuse for that blatant racism. But also, I do think it's time for Harry and Meghan to step up in this next few parts, because they have pointed the finger very vaguely at the royal family, saying someone within the royal family has been racist and mentioned skin tone, so on and so forth. We need to know who that person is. I was saying to Tori before the show, people could like generally say something negative about Daily Blast Live and the host as a whole, but there are several of us, so you need to be specific here and not tarnish everything.
Don't say that. That's a great point.
But so we need that to be able to address it and move on, because otherwise we're skirting around the issue. And I mean, there's nothing to be proud of from in the British perspective in our tabloids.
Steph,
nothing.
I have a question for you, because I don't know how in terms of going after the press as the public, are there lanes available where you could sue a publication for putting for something that you thought was racist?
Well, I mean, look at obviously Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and all she did was make a statement in an interview. This is not once, not twice. This is multiple different tabloids. You know, several times over the course of a few years. There's more than enough evidence.
And they do have defamation over in England. I would also say what I didn't realize was how closely the British media, which was all the 3 episodes was about, was working with the royal family. I, as an American, didn't know it's a business between the two.
Well, of course, like, think of any single major business, company, institution. They're all going to have a public relations, if they're of any credit whatsoever. They all have got a house. You know, each palace has its own PR firm.
Wow.
So there are going to be things that are leaked, that are said, whatever. But obviously, who knows? Was it internal in that palace, a PR that gave that information? But still, the newspaper should have stepped up and not printed those racist headlines. You know, maybe on someone's character you can comment, but not on the color of their skin. It's just not acceptable.
All right, we're going to be talking about this a lot, so stay tuned. Coming up on DBL, the story of 13 strangers who carpooled after their flight was canceled. We talk with a few of them about this wild trip.
This is Google Flights taking a look at the Friday before Christmas to the Monday after. From Charlotte to Miami, the average price for a round trip is close to about $500. Then traveling to Cleveland, Ohio, around $600. And Denver, the average price is about $350. You can see the prices are high for these trips. So what's the best time to take that getaway? Our source is Scott Keys, chief flight expert with Scott's Cheap Flights and Major Airlines.
Around January 7th or so, it flips virtually overnight from the most expensive time of the year to travel to the cheapest 2 months of the entire year for travel, and that's January and February.
Keys says flights can drop nearly 80% in January and February compared to December. So let's compare some flights. American, Delta, and Southwest are showing a round trip to Miami December 22nd to December 26th is around $500 to $600. Comparing that to January 19th to the 23rd, it's about $100 to $200 cheaper for the same round trip. And there are even better deals to other locations.
Flights to Denver out of Charlotte over New Year's, currently $586 round trip on a full service airline. That same flight just 3 weeks later in mid-January, $161 round trip.
Key says there are several reasons why January and February are the best months.
You've got so many families, students, teachers who really can't travel during those months because the academic calendar. And you've just got a lot of folks who maybe aren't thinking about travel because they just took a trip over the winter holiday.
So if you want to put that holiday trip on hold, January and February are your best bet. With your Verify Fact Check, I'm Megan Bragg.
Welcome back. You may remember a story we talked about last week that sounded like a scene out of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles about a group of strangers who rented a van and drove from Orlando to Knoxville after a canceled flight. Well, we sat down with 3 of those passengers from that legendary carpool, Elena, Michelle, and Amy. Check this out.
So me and a bunch of strangers in my family, we decided to rent a 15-passenger van and ride back 8 hours to Tennessee. So meet the gang.
My name is Lexi.
My name's
Robin.
My name is Q.
My name is Seth.
Hi, I'm Adolf.
Hi, I'm Johan.
Hi, I'm Amy.
Laura, Carlos, Michaela.
I'm the farm babe.
I'm Renee. Hi, my name's Kelly Young, and we are having a road trip to Knoxville for 10 hours. Can't wait.
Man, I love this story too. Frontier canceled your flight, and the next one wasn't for 48 hours. So whose idea was it to rent the 15-passenger van and assemble the group?
I do know that Michelle and Amy kind of pitched the idea to the Frontier desk. And at the same time, my mom and Carlos and his family were having the conversation as well. My mom actually rented like something for us to go back in, but then everyone kind of heard everyone talking about it. So it was kind of a collective.
All right, now we're going to get into this because when we talked about this story yesterday, I could not believe that you guys were going to get into a van with a bunch of strangers.
You were a hater.
For 10 hours, yes. I wasn't a hater. I was like, I don't know how y'all did that. I wouldn't have done that. So Michelle, talk to me and talk to our audience. Tell us who was in the crew and was anybody as nervous as I would have been?
You know, it was funny you mention that because as we were walking, there were these two guys I was talking to that clearly were European, and their names were Johan and Adolf. And so I was like, where are you guys from? And I was expecting them to say like Denmark or something, you know, and instead they go, Mexico. And I was like, oh, great, they're already lying to me. So for a second, I was like, yeah, okay, this isn't getting off to a good start. But it was funny because then they were like, no, really, we're farmers in Mexico. And then it come to find out we were going to the same conference. So I was a keynote speaker for this agriculture aviation event, and so we were going to the same place. So then I was like, oh, these are my people. These are farmers.
Oh, you're the farm babe.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like a public speaker, advocate for farmers. But the more we got to know each other, we were all different, but we all just got along really well, and it just worked out.
Amy, you just arrived home in Mexico after days of traveling. How has this experience been? Has it been what we picture, like really uplifting, or are you like, I needed space?
At this point, I'm just really happy to be home on Cozumel. We crossed yesterday at one of the most dangerous border sites to cross in all of Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And it's just been one thing after the other with flights and dogs. And literally, I've done trains, planes, and automobiles. I literally have. But bonding with these people, these 13 people I didn't even know, was just amazing because we all just gelled. Nobody was like, turn off the music, or nobody was like, I need this or I need that. Everybody just gelled. We had one thing to do and we got it done.
That's amazing.
So I'm curious, when you were doing this, did you know it would get this much attention? And why do you believe that people are so fascinated by this story? And I want to hear from all of you on this. Amy, you can go first.
I really had no idea. I was like, you know, somebody should do a TikTok or YouTube or something because this would be funny to watch. And then as I was watching it and I was reading the comments as Carlos was driving, the comments just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And after a while, it was 3.2 million people had viewed our little video. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know TikTok did that. It's uplifting. It's really great. I think it's great that people can come together like that, and we need to hear some good news in our world.
Yeah. I think it resonated with people because you guys in that van it got to what we aspire to be as a country, like a bunch of people that don't look like they belong together, but you gelled together and found commonality, and I think that's what resonated with people. So I have to ask you guys this. First of all, who was in charge of the radio? Like, whose playlist were we listening to?
We actually didn't listen to much music. We were too busy talking about our TikTok.
There you go. Check those numbers.
Yeah, I think the comment section was the most fun. Like, we were just laughing and like just restoring our faith in humanity because people just loved it. And everybody was like, we need an update. And people could relate to different characters and they all wanted an update because people were like picking their favorites and like creating their own storyline. It was so funny.
I really feel like it should be picked up as a reality show with these 13 people.
Yes.
Don't you?
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Let's talk pitching after the show, all right? Thank you so much, Michelle, Elena, and Amy. To our viewers, if you want to recap on the van's journey, you can always find Elena's TikTok at ElenaStory21. We'll be right back. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, guys. You were awesome.
Thank you.
Scammers are up to their old tricks with some updated tactics for the holidays to separate you from your money and personal information. So we're going to show you how to spot some of the most common scams using these sources. First up, you'll want to use caution when doing your shopping online. Scammers sometimes set up fake sites that look like real businesses to steal your information or convince you to download malicious software. Here's an example of a scam shopping website that we created. It may even imitate a brand you recognize. How can you know it's a scam? First, check the URL and make sure it's spelled correctly. Then, make sure you end up on a secured website, which is indicated by a lock icon to the left of the URL. Next, be suspicious of unusually low prices. Scammers hope you'll ignore any concerns you have about the site to save a few bucks. And finally, be careful if the site requires you to unexpectedly download software or asks for too much personal information. like your social security number. Scammers also know we're doing a lot of online holiday shopping, so watch out for fake shipment notifications. These are usually phishing emails or texts with links that may allow someone to access your personal information or ask you for money to release a shipment that really doesn't exist. Here's one example that was sent to us by a verified viewer where a scammer claims their package can't be shipped because of a mistake in their zip code. It asks for some personal information and later a redelivery fee. So how do we know this is a scam? First, the link in the text message does not go to USPS's official website, which is a big red flag. Next, the Postal Inspection Service says if you never signed up for a USPS tracking request for a specific package, then don't click the link. Carriers leave an official notice in your mailbox when they can't deliver a package. The USPS also doesn't charge a fee for redeliveries. If you're not sure if a tracking message is real, try taking the tracking number provided and doing a search for it on the Postal Service's or other carriers' website. Finally, if you're ever unsure about a suspicious message, contact the retailer directly using a trusted method like their official phone number, email address, or chat feature, and not using the information in the email or text. You can also report scam messages to your state's Consumer Protection Office or the Federal Trade Commission. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What could cause the end of these lower gas prices? Let's connect the dots. The cost of a gallon of regular gas has taken a nosedive after peaking at $5 over the summer. That record high came as we were all dealing with decades-high inflation. Now, falling energy prices could continue to help ease consumer inflation. But AAA says there are a couple of bumps in the road ahead. OPEC, an organization of oil-producing nations, is sticking with its plan to cut crude oil production next year. That could limit global supply. Russia could also slash production after Europe's oil embargo and price cap. That could also reduce supplies across the world. And China's harsh COVID lockdowns have kept many of its residents off the roads. As those restrictions are eased and more people in China travel freely, demand may go up, and that could translate to higher prices for all of us. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back. So you want to have whiter teeth but don't want to deal with the messy strips or sensitivity that comes with it? Well, you're in luck. The brand that bought you Power Whitening Gel has created new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power. Effective whitening can be achieved at home by simply adding the Pro Whitening Gel to toothpaste every time you brush. No change to your routine, no extra time or effort needed. In a clinical study, users had an average of 8-shade improvement after using the gel for just 30 days. Smile Active is safe and effective and will work on crowns, bonding, and dentures. Order today for a special buy one, get one offer. And don't wait for your brighter, whiter smile. Call 1-800-700-4040 or visit smileactives.com. I need to get some of those.
I do notice when I wear like a certain lipstick or something and you can see it, a quick fix will change your whole face to just your teeth. It's like a really quick way of not doing any surgical.
If you wear like a dark red or a plum or a brown lipstick, it also, sorry Al, I mean, you'd rock it, but you'd look great.
Yeah, see you next time.
It's true.